Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Just Trying to Survive and Learn to Live Along the Way. This will be Part 17, Chapters 32 and 33. Chapter 32 of Finals and Exams. There are a few random days off between the interviews and the start of final exams. Izuku spends all of the first day and most of the second at their dining table, cramming all the information he can into his head in preparation. He's tried not to notice the many different looks from his guardians and the hushed conversations over coffee as they witnessed him freak out over math. They approached the table mid-afternoon on the second day, and Zashi reaches forward to shut his textbook. "Hey, I was studying." Izuku knows he's pouting, but he's apparently got no control over himself and can't stop. Shouta gives him an unimpressed look as he pulls out a chair, Hizashi sitting down next to him. "There's something we need to talk about." Shota's serious tone stops his pouting, and he sits up a little straighter. "Sho, no need to scare the listener." Hizashi's outburst has everyone relaxing a little bit. "Sorry. You know I'm nervous." Eraserhead. Nervous? Must be the end of the world. Izuku voices as much. Hizashi bursts out laughing, and Shota's lips are curled up, like he's trying not to smile. "Listen. There's something Hizashi and I have been discussing for a while, and we wanted to bring it up with you. We'd like to adopt you." Adoption? This is much better than the expectations Izuku had for this conversation. "You wouldn't have to call us Dad or anything. We get that it could be a little weird, but..." Izuku decides to cut off Hizashi's nervous rambling. "And if I do?" Both his guardians look at him in surprise, as if they hadn't thought of that at all. "Problem child. Does that mean it's a yes?" "Yeah, it does, Dad." His guardians, his dad's, answering smiles are soft, and they both round the table to envelop him in a warm hug. The rest of their days off pass peacefully. Izuku is grateful for the time he gets to spend with his family, but he starts going a little stir-crazy by the end of it. Their first day back to school happens to be on the first day of the written portion of the final exams. The 3 days of written tests go by quickly, and Izuku is glad he studied so hard the past few days. He'd seen how much some of his classmates struggled, but he got through the tests with relative ease. Now they only have to get through the practical portion, and all Izuku can feel is a sense of dread when the teams are announced. He's teamed up with Bakugo, of all people, and they have to fight All Might. This is going to be awful. At least his dad's look as upset as he feels when it's announced. There's only one way this can go, and that's poorly. A few classmates shoot him sympathetic looks from where they stand in their hero costumes. Izuku is simply in his gym uniform, his new costume, not ready yet. With no chance to even wish his friends good luck, Izuku is whisked onto a bus to get to the exam site. If he could get Bakugo to work with him, then maybe they have a chance to escape. There's absolutely no way they can beat All Might, but Bakugo is stubborn, and Izuku can't think of anything that will convince him to run. Maybe he'll use him as a distraction and make his way past the gate? It's worth a shot, but Izuku wants to at least try and work with him. That's the whole point of pairing them together. Before he even realizes it, they've passed the gate, and they're at their starting point, with the start bell going off. "Listen, Bakugo, I think..." "I don't care what you think, Shindeku. I'm beating All Might." That's completely irrational. Izuku opens his mouth to tell Bakugo that, but he's already stalking away in search of the #1 hero. Izuku rushes to catch up to him. "Bakugo, Our best chance is to go through the gate. Bakugo whirls around and glares at him. Will you stop following me already? That's all you ever do. Izuku grabs his arm to stop him from walking away. Bakugo, wait. He's far too strong. Bakugo stops him with a hard shove. Frankly, it's a lot lighter than he expected it to be. I don't need you. While you run away like a coward, I'll win this thing all by myself. Izuku opens his mouth to reply, when an enormous shock wave blasts them both backwards. He sits up and tries to regain composure. A figure makes its way through the dust, and it's the hulking form of All Might. He looks absolutely terrifying, and Izuku is so frozen that he barely registers him telling them to take the exam seriously. Bakugo, we have to hide! Izuku runs, but doesn't hear the footsteps of his teammate behind him. He turns just in time to see Bakugo lunge for All Might, little explosions going off in his hands. All Might stops him, with seemingly no effort, and slams the other boy into the ground. He's gone, and Izuku searches frantically for him, before he registers the presence behind him. He ignores the jibes the man makes about the hero killer, and jumps away, running headlong into Bakugo and knocking them both over. The other boy recovers much faster than he does, and rushes towards All Might again. Bakugo, please! We don't have to fight him! This is the only way to truly win, and I have to win, because that's what real heroes do. Izuku grabs him again, well aware of what the consequences could be. Jesus, Deku, let go of me! A second after the words are out of his mouth, All Might is between them, trapping Izuku under a fence and going after Bakugo with a strong punch to the gut. Izuku winces in sympathy and struggles to free himself. He doubles his efforts when the pro starts closing in on his teammate and grabs the boy, carrying him to a nearby alleyway. A harsh elbow to the back of the head makes Izuku drop Bakugo, and he starts pleading with him before he even hits the ground. Bakugo, please! There's no way we can fight him and win! A blast to the wall next to his head shuts him up, and he stares at Bakugo, waiting for him to speak. There's no way past him without fighting, Deku. But Bakugo, we can't... Shut up! Izuku does. The best we can do is stun him enough to be able to get as much distance as possible between us and make it to the gate. Izuku didn't think he would ever see the day that Bakugo makes a plan to run for escape, but here they are. He doesn't say a word as he hands Izuku one of his gauntlets, only turns and heads back towards All Might. Izuku hopes he understands the plan like Bakugo intends. Izuku waits until Bakugo attacks with his own gauntlet and yells for him to appear behind All Might, unleashing a giant explosion of his own. The recoil is harsher than he expected, and Izuku winces at the flare of pain in his shoulder. How in the world does Bakugo deal with this as frequently as he does? Run, Deku! Bakugo is already on the move, and Izuku hurries to catch up to him. They're almost at the gate, when Izuku realizes something. Bakugo, something's not right. Why hasn't he caught up to us yet? Bakugo gives him a mocking look before answering. That doesn't matter. If he does, then I'll just blast him away again. Well, young Bakugo, my thanks for revealing your plan. All Might smashes both gauntlets to pieces and kicks Bakugo away. He grabs Izuku by the arm and uses him to hit Bakugo to the ground when he comes back from where he'd landed. All Might places a boot on Bakugo's back and holds Izuku up by the arm before speaking. It was a valiant effort, boys, but you can't beat the #1 hero. Izuku struggles in his grip. They need to get away if they want to pass the test. The gate is mockingly close, and Izuku hopes that one of them can make it through. There's an explosion from below, and Izuku flies out of All Might's grasp, landing harshly on the ground. Before he can even consider getting up, there's a grip on his shirt. Get ready to fly, Deku! Bakugo launches him towards the gate with an explosion, and it looks like they might actually win. New Hampshire smash! That's all the warning he gets before All Might slams into his back and launches him into a bus. Izuku holds back a cry of pain as he lands. There's definitely something wrong with his back. He watches through bleary eyes as Bakugo launches himself once again at their teacher and unleashes another massive explosion. Run, Deku! His words are laced with pain. He's definitely overused his quirk. Izuku tries to get up. He really does. But he only makes it about halfway before nearly collapsing in pain. His vision goes all fuzzy, and breathing is starting to get really hard. There's a cry of pain that diverts his attention from his own, and Izuku glances over, blinking tears out of his eyes. Bakugo is on the ground, and All Might stands over him. He says something to the other boy, but Izuku can't make it out. Izuku grinds his teeth and stands, activating One for All as he goes. He knows he only has one shot at this. He leaps towards All Might and delivers a swift punch to his face. Reaching down to grab Bakugo in the same movement, he throws his unconscious body over his shoulder and moves as fast as his aching body allows. The moment he passes through the gate, he places Bakugo on the ground and keels over. The pain in his back is unbearable at this point, and it's taking all he has not to collapse. Young Midoriya, are you all right? All Might crouches beside him and places what he assumes to be a gentle hand on his back. It certainly doesn't feel that way, and Izuku is completely overwhelmed by the pain and proceeds to pass out. Chapter 33 Of Rest and Returns. Shouta is worried. He knows that Izuku passed, but he was fighting All Might, and presumably Bakugo as well. There's no way he got out of it unscathed. He's pacing the area where the bus should be arriving, Recovery Girl shooting him annoyed glances and Hisashi concerned ones. The bus finally pulls up, and All Might exits, carrying a boy under each arm. They've both got bloody faces, and one of Izuku's arms is dangling at an odd angle. All Might slides past him without a word and places the boys on stretchers, manned by Recovery Girl's bots. Shouta, hand in hand with Hisashi, follows them all the way to the infirmary, all while ignoring the looks that All Might keeps sending their way. Recovery Girl sets to work immediately, checking over Bakugo first, giving him a quick kiss on the temple to heal his injuries. The main concern with this boy is the quirk overuse and his concussion. He'll recover in no time. I'll have to send for his mother to pick him up. Shouta nods at her, waiting for her to check out Izuku. She frowns at him before moving to remove his shirt. His cry of pain at the motion has Shouta moving towards the pair. Poor baby! Hisashi gasps at his side when the top is finally removed. His back is covered in bruises, already dark in color. There are bones sticking at odd angles beneath the skin. How did he even get this injury? I didn't mean to hit him that hard. Of course it's All Might. Shouta nearly whirls on him, but Hisashi's hand, tightening in his, makes him pause. He doesn't need to make a scene. Jesus, All Might, you didn't need to fight them so hard. They're kids. This back injury is awful. Recovery Girl leans forward and places a kiss on Izuku's head. Shouta watches as the bones in his back move towards their rightful spot, and his arm shifts back into place. Izuku's face relaxes, no longer pinched with pain. I'd recommend having him here for the night, but I'm guessing you want to take him home. Zashi nods at his side, answering for the both of them. Recovery Girl turns Izuku over and places his arm in a sling. All right. Just let him rest for a bit before you head out. He'll need to keep the sling on for tomorrow, and his back might cause him quite a bit of discomfort. Thanks, Recovery Girl. She nods at them and walks to her office, shutting the door behind her. "I'll go meet young Bakugo's mother at the gate." All Might turns and leaves, frowning to himself as he exits the room. It's at least 30 minutes before Recovery Girl slinks out of her office and heads in their direction. "You can take him home now. Make sure he gets lots of rest tonight." Shouta nods his thanks and moves to wake their son up. As soon as he's awake, he tries sitting up, grimacing in pain. Shouta helps him the rest of the way and doesn't miss how pale he is from the small amount of movement. Looks like a piggyback ride to the car it is. Izuku looks to the side and to his arm before frowning. Shouta follows his gaze to the shirt thrown to the side. There's no way he can get that back on with the sling on his arm. Zashi gently nudges him to the side, leather jacket in hand. He helps Izuku get his good arm in and tucks the jacket over his sling. Shouta has to stifle a laugh at the sight. Izuku looks tiny in the jacket, with its obnoxiously high collar. Shouta frowns and reaches forward to tuck it down, before turning and sitting on the edge of the bed. Izuku takes the hint and reaches his good arm over his shoulder, fisting his hand in his capture scarf for extra leverage. Izuku tucks his chin on Shota's other shoulder, and he tries to ignore Zashi's fond look at the action. They make it maybe halfway through the school before they run into someone that Shouta had no intention of seeing so quickly after the parent-teacher interviews. Bakugo Mitsuki. She's walking beside All Might, a scowl on her face. Shouta tries to get by them quickly without her noticing who he's carrying on his back. But he fails miserably. "Is that little Izuku?" The boy in question huffs a frustrated breath in his ear, and Shouta is inclined to agree. "It's been so long. I heard about Inko. So sorry that happened." Izuku tenses up at the mention of his mother. Why did this woman have to bring her up? "I was so glad to hear you were in Katsuki's class. You have to come over for dinner. I want to meet your guardians. Make sure they treat you right and all that." Izuku turns his head towards Shouta, and he can only imagine the confused look on his face. "But you've already met them." Izuku sounds extremely confused. Shouta thinks it should be obvious with the way he's carrying him, who his guardians are. "I'm afraid not, dearie." "Ma'am, me and Eraserhead are taking care of him now. We just put in the forms for adoption." Zashi gives him a fond look, and Shouta feels Izuku relaxing on his back. Mitsuki looks surprised, to say the least. "Adoption? Isn't that a little soon? Inko's trial isn't even over. What if they find her not guilty? He could be back in her care in no time. Doesn't this seem a little preemptive?" Izuku inhales sharply, freezing on his back. He shifts ever so slightly and tucks his face against Shota's neck. "Mitsuki, please. There's no way that woman is getting out, and there's no way that she's getting her hands on Izuku again. What's the point of delaying the adoption when he's already a part of our family? Excuse us. We have to go now." Shouta is not ashamed of the ice coating his tone. He's only disappointed he didn't use it earlier, before she went and opened her big mouth. Mitsuki has an irritated look on her face as All Might leads her away, and Shouta sighs in relief once she rounds the corner. Izuku is tense on his back the rest of the walk to the car, as if he expects them to run into more opposition. Shouta gets Zashi's help in getting Izuku off his back, and he slides into the car without a word. Shouta keeps an eye on him the whole ride. Izuku is tense in the back seat, staring blankly out the window. He stands on his own when they park the car, and refuses any help with a shake of his head. It's slow going on the way to the elevator, and once they make it inside, Izuku leans against the wall, a grimace on his face. Shouta steadies him when the elevator jolts to a stop on their floor, and keeps a hand on his shoulder to guide him to their home. He leaves Izuku on the couch to get him a glass of water, and by the time he returns, the kid is laying sideways, fast asleep, radio and toothless, cuddled close. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 33 of Just Trying to Survive and Learn to Love Along the Way. Chapter 34 will be up next. I would love to hear the thoughts and your reactions that you had to these chapters. Definitely a lot going on here. We've got the final exam that took place, the injuries, of course, that Izuku and Bakugo managed to have because of All Might, and also, right, Izuku hearing that Hisashi and Shouta, they want to adopt him, right? That conversation taking place, calling them dad for the first time, and of course, Bakugo's mother jumping into the fray, right, with reminders of Izuku's past and his mother. A lot of different ups and downs that took place throughout this chapter set. So let me know your reactions. Drop your comments below for me. And as always, thank you all so much for listening.